Lesson 4, building the champion mindset. Most people don't understand how champions think. They may know of athletes, they may know people. My son was an athlete, my daughter played sports, blah, blah, blah. But champions are few and far between, okay? They could be 100 people on stage at a bodybuilding event, but there's only one champion, right? Many people run a marathon, but there's only one champion. And that's because champions, and I'm saying a champion can't lose, but champions think one way and one way only. They're going to finish this task, get this job done, no matter what it takes, hell or high water. That doesn't come genetically. Now, you do have some genetic gifts as far as being able to jump high, run fast, throw the ball further. Those things are genetic, but you can still work on them to make them better. The champion mindset is no different. You have to work on it to make it better. And anyone can develop it, but you have to understand how to do it and why you're not doing it. So we're going to get into that a little bit here. Abandoning hardwired thoughts. And what that really means is this. No matter how crappy the job is, like you see here, Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe, the great thing about that show is a lot of those jobs that people are doing, people look at it and go, I would never do that. But those guys have a certain mentality that they have to develop in order to do jobs like that. And it's the same thing with being a champion. There's certain things you're going to have to develop and overcome things that in the past you might have been told, like, you're not good at this, you're not smart at that, you're really smart at this. Sometimes people tell you you're smart, and then when you go somewhere you struggle, and you can't get over the fact that all your life you've been told you're so smart, but now you're struggling. And so a lot of these things you have to overcome to be successful. Same thing with weight loss. You know, people will tell you, oh, my parents raised me to clean my plate off. And that's why I overeat today. There's so many things reasons we come up with that we don't even realize we're just basically holding ourselves still and not allowing ourselves to grow. So you have to abandon all of the thoughts that are keeping you from growing. And some of those could be things that you think are positive, like, oh, you can do anything you put your mind to. No, you can't. Sometimes you don't have the ability to, you don't have the intellectual mind or the mathematical mind or the mechanical mind, and you're never going to get it. So that's not even true. Okay, so the truth is once you find your niche, once you find what you can do, once you find what you're willing to do, now you have to go for it. And it's just like that with dieting. It's just like that with exercise. In order to have a lifelong career, so to speak, or live a lifestyle for your lifetime, you have to have positive things in your head and good reasons to stay with it. Because if you have anything negative in your head, it'll always slow you up, or it might even stop you completely. Something else you have to have is you have to make it make sense. Make it make sense. And that means everything that you do and plan to do, it needs to be reasonable. It needs to be attainable. And you have to give yourself a chance to do it. Give it some time. Okay? I've seen a lot of people go into the gyms. 6 weeks later, they're complaining that they're not seeing progress. A lot of them don't even know what they're doing. That's why they're not seeing progress. Sometimes they're working with coaches that don't really understand their bodies, and so it's not working. There's a lot of reasons why things don't work, but it's not like they can never work. It's just that you haven't found the right information or put the amount of effort that you need to put in to be successful. So it needs to make sense. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit here. Create reasonable, attainable short-term goals. We're going to get into goal setting, and we're going to put that down later on in the lesson plan, but we need to create reasonable goals, something that I can actually do in this amount of time. I believe I can, if I really work hard, I can lose 10 pounds in this amount of time. Or I can get 5 push-ups, after the first 2 months. Now, a lot of times you guys won't know that kind of stuff, and I won't know it either. But once we start training, once you start doing stuff, you start to notice, wow, this person is pretty strong. They're naturally strong. Wow, they're naturally this, they're naturally that. Or wow, we're weak here, so we got to work on this. But your goals have to be reasonable and they have to be attainable. Okay, they had like 4 weeks, 8 weeks, that kind of thing. Another big one is distinguishing the difference between wants and needs. This is a big one because a lot of times people think they need things like, I gotta have this, I gotta have sugar, I gotta have wine. I've heard this for years, and I'm like, so if they stop making wine, you just what? Like what would happen? Like, no, you don't have to. You're used to drinking it. You're used to eating this way. You're used to doing nothing after work. You're used to these things. Doesn't mean you have to keep doing them. If the whole world changed today and everything ended and you had to start over again, guess what? You wouldn't be doing anything you did yesterday. So we have to stop telling ourselves that we can't do things, and we need to start telling ourselves that we can and we're going to. And we need to understand, okay, this I don't need. I want this. This I need. This I want. And it's not that you can't have your wants. It's just that it needs to make sense. It needs to make sense so that you continue to have success in what matters the most to you. And how we do some things is how we do everything. Now, that's not necessarily 100% true. But if you and you guys know people who half do everything, they never quite finish anything, that's probably how they do everything in their lives, Or somebody, you walk past their car and you see just filth all in their car, you can probably assume their house is very similar, right? You're not going to see a car like that and then go and see the house and the house is spotless, so unless somebody just cleaned it. So you got to remember that too. If you're a person that doesn't put full effort into things they don't like doing, you're probably going to be unsuccessful if you don't find yourself liking this process. So you have to actually create a situation where you're enjoying the process. Because if you enjoy things, a lot of people, when they really like doing something, then their words match their actions. But when people don't really like it, they say, well, I'm trying. I've had a lot of people tell me, I'm trying. I'm like, are you doing it or you're not? Either you're doing it or you're not. No one's stopping you from eating right except for you. So are you doing it? That's a question that a lot of people don't like when I ask. I'm like, well, if you really wanted to, you would do it. So why aren't you doing it? And how come you don't want to? So remember that you got to create reasonable goals. You have to really be specific and not silly about what you need and what you want, and try to get on the right page with yourself as far as how you're going to approach your fitness. How much am I going to really give up? And how much am I going to put into this to be successful? And last but not least, just do it. Trusting the process, like Nike's slogan says. Believe in what you're doing. It's hard to stick to a program that you don't really believe is going to work. You need to hire trainers that you believe can get the job done. I can tell you the best way to hire a trainer is to look at their previous work, or even ask their clients, what they think about the trainer and how the trainer, helped them. Okay, because a lot of people are picking trainers without even checking their history to see if they even had success training anybody similar to them. Because just because you can get one person in shape doesn't mean you can get all people in shape. And some people have medical issues, and they have pacemakers, and they have all kinds of things that is a little more difficult, and it's not so cut and dry. You just go run up here and run over there and pick this up, put that down and eat this way. That doesn't work for everybody. So you got to really know some details on diets, and if somebody has heart conditions and so on and so forth. So the better the information you get, the more you will believe in what you're doing. Secondly, you need to just put your head down and go and never look up. Just keep going, just keep walking, keep walking. I call it getting on the train and never get off the train. Once you get on the train, stay on it. Sometimes the train's going to slow down. Sometimes it's going to pick up fast. Sometimes you're going to see quick weight loss. Sometimes you're going to see no weight loss. But it doesn't mean, okay, well, it's not working anymore. I can go back to what I used to be doing. I can tell you now, I've seen so many people over the years, over the 30, 40 years I've been in the gyms, working with people and working on myself. I've seen so many people who were losing weight, doing good, in there consistently. All of a sudden, you don't even notice that they're gone, but you notice when they return. And the next time you see them, you look and you go, wow, they changed. And I can tell if you gain weight. I can tell if you lost weight. I see it all. So I've seen so many people come back, and I can tell that I was like, wow, I haven't seen them in a while, and they put weight on. So I'll ask them, where you been? And they usually say the same thing. And it's usually, most of the time it's women. Men do it as well, but most of the time it's women. And they'll go, I got frustrated. I couldn't do that diet anymore. Or I only lost 15. I wouldn't lose any more no matter what I did. So I got upset, and I left the gym and I quit. And I'm like, how'd that work out for you? Well, I put on 15 pounds. I'm like, of course. Because if you're in here trying and it's not moving, what do you think is going to happen if you stop trying? It's going to go up. Just because it's not going down doesn't mean it won't go up. So never quit just because it's not working. Ask more questions, find someone who can help you pick up the pieces from there. So put your head down, keep going, never look up, and surround yourself with like-minded people doing what you're trying to do. With women especially, this is a huge, women are social. They like to hang out and talk and have their friends and so on and so forth. If you got a group of people who are completely different than you when it comes to their lifestyle, eating, and they're out eating whatever, they don't exercise, and all they're gonna do is have a conversation that's not in your best interest. The food that you eat and surrounded by isn't in your best interest. And most women don't like to tell their friends that I'm not going to eat that, I'm not going to drink that, I'm just going to do this, because then their friends make it hard and they're like, why not? Girl, you look fine. What's the big deal? Blah, blah. And you don't get the support you think you're going to get from these people. You think these people would be like, hey, you know what? Go for it, girl. We'll support you. Let's all eat healthy today, to support Monica. They don't do that. They try to talk you out of doing it. So you got to surround yourself with people who are trying to do, or health-minded people. If you're an artist, surround yourself with artists. If you're trying to be a doctor, surround yourself with med students. Surround yourself with the people that are speaking the same language, and you will stay motivated, and you won't want to cheat on your diet because none of your friends are. You will want to cheat if your friends aren't. You will not want to cheat if your friends are not cheating. So surround yourself with like-minded people, and that's a huge one, especially for the ladies, as far as sticking to your program and being successful.